Agricultural productivity on the African continent is limited by a range of factors. So the lack of irrigation is an obvious example. Only 5% of the cultivated land in Africa makes use of irrigation, with most of the farmers depending on rainfall. In comparison, in Asia, 38% of the arable land is under irrigation. Secondly, soil health is a challenge. The average farmer in Ghana uses only 7.4 kgs of fertilizer per hectare, while in South Asia, fertilizer use averages more than 100 kgs per hectare. Unsurprisingly, output per hectare in Africa falls far below the levels registered in other parts of the world. When farmers plant the same fields without using fertilizers, they are literally mining the soil. And an estimated 8 million tons of nutrients are depleted from the soil annually in Africa. The cost of fertilizers is part of the problem. Farmers in Africa face some of the world's highest fertilizer prices, not just in landlocked countries where transport costs are higher, like Burundi or Uganda or Zambia. Farmers in Nigeria and Senegal pay 3 times more than their counterparts in Brazil and in India. Now, some countries like Ghana and Malawi have thrown money at fertilizer subsidies when their budgets have been healthy, but they've been forced to cut back when budgets tighten. And subsidized fertilizer, which is intended for smallholders, has often been resold at market rates, with middlemen pocketing the profit. So if we take a look at Nigeria's system, for example, it became so corrupt that in 2012, the agriculture minister estimated that as little as 11% of subsidized fertilizer was actually getting to small-scale farmers at the subsidized price. Pesticides is another element that, if correctly used, could improve crop yields without environmental damage. The use of pesticides has been increasingly adopted in the past decade across the continent, but it's in an indiscriminate fashion. The lack of education on what types and the quantity of the pesticides and what's best for each crop, the absence of government control, this has led to excessive use and, in some situations, environmental contamination and human health problems. Access to quality seeds also has a long way to go on the African continent. Small-scale farmers in sub-Saharan Africa aren't able to get full information and access to good seeds. And there's a circulation of fake seeds. That's a major problem in countries like Kenya. That hinders the transformation of this sector. Africa needs a well-functioning and a market-driven seed system. And research scientists working with small-scale farmers need to improve their seeds. Now, the increasing degree of climate change and how it's propagating extreme weather events is simply exacerbating the situation. So, aiming for improved seed varieties that will help crops resist or withstand droughts and flooding, and challenges that are becoming alarmingly common, is a key factor that will help address some of the bottlenecks in African agriculture.